up? What up? What up? Pardon me. What's going on, family? Let me know if y'all can see me, hear me. Not sure. Trying to check this out right now. Okay. So I'm not being seen on Instagram right now. Let me know in the comment section where you viewing me from. How y'all doing today, man? It's Thursday. I'm over here putting together a lot of new things lately for the audience. You dig? What's going on, Cameron? So like one of the things that I'm really in the work that I do with men over the last few years, so to speak, you know what I'm saying? One of the biggest things that I can see as one of our issues, our primary issues, is twofold. And one is that, the society has already influenced us to be a certain kind of way. And, okay, Facebook. So we're mostly on Facebook. Okay, shout outs to Facebook, man. I don't go live here often, but trying to make it a more habitual thing. Actually, I don't think I'm even streaming to Instagram right now, but I usually do more over on the IG page. So make sure you follow me on IG if you haven't. But guys, I got this new program coming up. Well, it's not really new. It's strategic courting for high value men. But in actuality, what's going to be different this time around is that it's going to be broken up into workshops, online workshops as a series, so to speak, instead of just one course or one online course. So what, as I was saying earlier, one of the biggest things that most men are dealing with is, and it's not most men, it's the men in particular who want to marry, men who want to have children, men who want to build families. Like if that's what you want in this world right now, and you look at the world and see what it is, it's not pretty out here. It's not really pretty. It's not very high value chances of you finding a woman who actually wants to be a wife, who actually, you don't have to fight with her to for her to be a wife. So it's like this is a very, it's a tight spot for the modern man. I don't know. Y'all can tell me in the comments. Are y'all meeting women all the time who are ready to be wives? I know the answer to that is no, but sometimes, you're gonna meet somebody sometimes who knows what the fuck she's talking about, or her parents, did give her some good guidance. But for the most part, even if their parents were together, bro, like you're dealing with women who have been influenced to be independent. Their thinking is independent, so they already don't even think that they need a man, and they don't even value a man on the level a man should be valued. But the truth is, they get validated by thinking this way if men themselves don't learn essentially how to court, essentially how to have relationships with women. And of course, a man who really doesn't know himself, a man who really hasn't been developed to find his life's purpose or anything of that nature. You get what I'm saying? If you don't know that, it's gonna be hard for you to be to even be in relationships anyways. Shout outs to you, Robert, from Milwaukee. Best team in the NBA, if you ask me. Best player in the NBA as well, too. Yeah. But like this is one thing leads to another. Like the saying, shit rolls downhill. So if we have been influenced to go after sex, and women have been influenced to offer sex, but they've been influenced to use sex as power, and for us, we get exploited. We feel validated by the sex, but the real truth is we get exploited. Once you get caught up in the sexual validation game with women, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a losing game from there. Like can't nobody tell me nothing. Eventually, you can use a rubber all you want. You can skeet by most of the times, but eventually, if you stay in that game, which is the dating pool, if you stay in that game, you're gonna get caught up. You will. There's just you can't be like a 20-year vet of smashing and dashing and never had any accidents. never had any toes, never had any children, unless you're shooting blanks, which is very possible. And if you are shooting blanks, get with me on my IG page. I got herbs and various other things to help you correct that situation, but also, dealing with the testosterone levels that we're dealing with in this country. Like, all men need to understand how to optimize their testosterone levels. And because, like, you can look healthy and all this fly shit and feel like shit on the inside, because you're literally being targeted by so many different things to lower your testosterone levels. But the bottom line is, if you stay in the dating pool, which is what it's called, if you stay in that dating pool long enough, fellas, you become the dating pool. You become the low quality. You become the low value. So any man who gets to a certain level where he's trying to evolve his consciousness, trying to evolve his presence, his awareness, he's really, knowing himself, finding himself, following his life's purpose. At some point of doing that, you're gonna want more than just somebody to have sex with. And what's gonna be available for the most part is just somebody to have sex with. Yeah, maybe a little bit more, but somebody who you're gonna legitimately build a family with, bro. You don't just get that. You don't just get that. And in my course, strategic courting for high value men, the real point is really for us to understand what happened, because, like, we're so shallow minded these days. We think that shit's been like this. We think that this is actually how it's been, but this is just what we're experiencing these days. I mean, this shit is short. Like, most of our concepts on masculinity and femininity, marriage and relationships are new. Most of them had just been reconstructed for us since the 60s, the 50s and the 60s, and didn't even really take off until like the 70s. And all of them, quite frankly, like these casual sex relationships that we now accept as normal, like, they required drugs and alcohol for a lot of these people to really go along with the flow. And back in those days, I mean, many of us born in the 70s and 80s are byproducts of some drugs and alcohol under the influence. Or else your mother probably wouldn't have slept with that dude without being his wife. You understand what I'm saying? The whole game has literally been rearranged right in front of us. And what it is it's the structure of how we mate. Understanding what happened requires one to go back to the beginning. Absolutely. And what I'm going back to right now ain't the beginning. Understanding what happened requires understanding what transpired in time, especially recently, that influences us the most. Because a lot of our genetic DNA is telling us, like, for the guys who understand, who've been around and see what I've been doing on the internet for the last 6 years with my book Heart on Break, dealing specifically with men and talking specifically to men. Like, it really wasn't a popular thing to do back in the days, but now people are doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it wasn't that popular to even target men with a message. And this is how it's been for the most part, that, this history that we have in our heads is just new shit. And if we just go further back, we get more answers. We get a lot more answers as to why, like, how we were. But the problem is new. And of course, every generation has, various levels of problems that face them. Some we don't understand. But the point is, lately, and this is one of the things I talk about in the course. I'm giving y'all some of the coursework already. But like I said, guys, if you're on Facebook, I'll probably post something eventually. I'll put a link to it. But it's one of my, my exclusive contents. For the most part, content creation, like, it's really about helping you move out of this dating pool, this sexual marketplace. You get what I'm saying? Like, the sexual marketplace, anything that you're doing in there with women, no matter how cute she looks, no matter how nice she says she is, no matter how educated, if she's in the marketplace, bro, that ain't your wife. That ain't your purpose partner. That ain't your soulmate. And in many cases, it ain't going to even be a twin flame that challenges you and encourages you to do better. You get what I'm saying? So like Robert just said, like, going back, you got to go back. We have to go back further. And black men in America specifically have to go back even further, because if you go back 100 years, we were still under, like, duress. as a nation of people. You get what I'm saying? Our relationships were still recovering from post-slavery. Go back 100 to 200 years, then you don't even know what that's like. You'd have to go back 500 years to get a better understanding of how you used to enter into relationships according to your DNA and who you are. And that's heavy shit right there. But even white men, because I got a lot of white people who follow me, like, it doesn't matter to me. The bottom line is, for the last 100 years, even the way you interact or enter into relationships has been changed based on the social propaganda that's been brought to us over the last 100 years, but more specifically over the last 50. Like, the way it's been hitting hard over the last 50 years, to the point where most of the women, they think the same way. They think the same way. You understand what I'm saying? They think the same way. They do the same thing. You understand? They literally all are the same. And it's not, I guess it's not cool to say it like that, and because nobody's all the same. But it's just like, women have been saying all men are dogs for 40 years, 30 years now. That's definitely not the truth, but they believe that shit. So now we're at a level now for men who are on the purpose journey, finding themselves, challenging themselves, growing, evolving. You know that you're not going to be this same dude in 2 years, even 6 months. You have a different vision for your life in 5 years. You get what I'm saying? Like, or 20 years. Like, once you've gotten to this point, the typical woman in the dating pool, the sexual marketplace, the typical woman, that ain't your wife, B. You trying to build a family? That ain't your wife. So is it like, the dating game is so convoluted. Like, it's like a predators and victims paradise. You got victims in the game acting like they're predators, and you got predators in the game acting like they're victims. Like, it's a dirty game. This is not where you want to meet your wife. And I know for most of us, it's hard as hell to even go anywhere else besides the sexual marketplace, the dating pool, because the dating pool is what you know. And in some cases, you've been in the dating pool since your preteen years. Like, it's hard as hell to avoid the little casual conversations, the texting, the DMings, you know what I'm saying, the meeting up. And next thing, boop, you done started a sex contract with a person that you don't even know. That's how the dating game goes. When you're courting, on the other hand, it's a system. You're learning how to get to know the particulars about a woman that matters towards whether or not this person can be your life partner. Sometimes you get many life partners. Very rarely do you get to keep them all at the same time, though. However, the compatibility and the ability to determine or discern whether this person suits who you are becoming, that's high level shit, bro. And quite frankly, it starts by understanding the marketplace. You know what I mean? Men, you got to understand the marketplace. If you listen on Facebook, go ahead and share this for me as many times as you can. Let this get out here. More shares I get, the longer I go. But for sure, we're over here talking about, my course, Strategic Courting for High Value Men. I think it's about time. I've been asked thousands and thousands of times by men about various aspects of relationships, because, like, I work with men who are up there in some senses, but the truth is, we all get taught how to freaking, go to work and make money. Like, to be able to make some money, that's not advanced. Like, evolving yourself, of course, money is involved, but evolving yourself into the man that you're supposed to be, into a person who follows his life's purpose, that's heavy stuff. And it's going to take a little bit more discipline. It's going to take some more reading. It's going to take more than what you got sometimes. Sometimes you got to go out there and get it. And this is a process that refines you and changes you so much that the knowledge and the value that you now know yourself to be, you don't just want to give that to anybody. You don't want to, be given top tier value of yourself to somebody you just met last night and you're sleeping with her in 2 days. Like, that's not wifey. But and the purposeful man, for the most part, is looking for a woman who can serve in his family, who can help him grow. That's the most important. But if y'all gonna have children, she's got to be a part of that. It's not like the man who doesn't know himself. He doesn't care too much. He has children and he figures it out later. A purposeful man, a man who knows himself, knows what he wants. He wants to plan it out. He's got a vision. You understand what I'm saying? What's going on, Mr. Bentley Brown? Huge facts. Your jewels are beyond valuable. I appreciate that, family. Appreciate that. You dig? Like, we're just trying to get it out here so we can help each other. Like, the truth is, it just hasn't been enough to help us grow as men. And even in some cases, my book has been good. It's good for those who just need to stop and change the game for themselves for a little while. But going further and really developing yourself, we all need help with that shit. Like, I still have to get coaching sessions with elders and other people to help me stay on my path. I still got to be open to what other folks who I believe are older and more mature have to offer or give to me. Like, this is necessary as men. Like, we just been disenfranchised knowledge wise. We're not learning what we need to learn in elementary, middle, and high school. We're just learning how to be slaves. And everybody kind of knows this by now. But the truth is, it's hard to resist. So one of the few things, though, that I think that we can definitely change the game on is how we enter into relationships. After all the failure that you've had, you can control this shit. You can control your family. You can control your wealth. You can control your destiny. Big ups to you, Cameron, on that. I'm glad that the book was able to help you, bro. And quite frankly, I got more work to put out. It's coming soon. Mostly these days, it's just about getting us to understand more advanced concepts of that's even in that book, for the sense of not just taking a break from relationships, but what you do in a fucking break. I got these guys, I got a coach and I work with a lot of men. And the truth is, when we don't have women to talk to, it's just like this escapist attitude that comes in. It's just looking for ways out instead of focusing on what you got to do. Like, this happens to me when I got to write. It also happens to me when I got to read, like the old school book type of thing. Like, I'd rather watch a video these days the way that it is. You know what I'm saying? So, like, sometimes there can't be no escape. And for the most part, a woman is the easiest escape. And if you don't learn how to stay focused on your thing diligently long enough to manifest what you need to manifest, when it's time to actually be in relationships, you ain't gonna know what you want because you didn't do the work. You didn't build the foundation. And the foundation is always going to be you. So like, but the thing is, when it's all said and done, as you build the foundation and as you become more aligned with yourself, it doesn't mean that you women just flock to you, tell you everything that you want to hear, and you get what you want from them and done deal. It doesn't change the market. And this is one of the things that the first workshop in this strategic quarter for high value man is going to address. The simple fact that, like, you get better, but the market doesn't necessarily get better. But the market will get better if you continue to get better, if more men continue to get better. You get what I'm saying? But the point is, you getting better, upping your game, getting your wisdom on, does not make the women more qualified to be with you. Makes you more qualified to be with them in some cases. You get what I'm saying? Appreciate that, Robert. I'm glad I'm able to assist in that sense as well. Yep, your self-work doesn't change the market. And I think that's one of the things that, I was young and a little bit dumb and disillusioned when I wrote that book. It's been 6 years. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's not entirely wrong. You attract what you vibrate. But the truth is, you're gonna keep attracting. Like, if you attract hoes, you're gonna keep attracting hoes. It's just courting, by the way that I'm introducing it and talking about it. It helps you sift through the people who are there. It helps you realize that, oh, that's a hoe. You know what I'm saying? That's not a housewife. That's a hoe. You know what I'm saying? But damn, she looks good, because that's what's gonna be most impulsive to you these days. So courting is learning that, that can't work for me because I've had 3 hoes already and I got one pregnant. and got in a fight with one and went to jail for the other one. Like, you get what you get. You're gonna still attract what you attract. Learning how to court is just learning how to, okay. Because you got to think about even the word court. It's about court. It's like judges, attorneys, rules, regulations, sentences. You get what I'm saying? So if you're courting, you're aligning things strategically to win your case. And your case, for the most part, is what you want. A case for what you want. Like, if you want a woman who cooks every day, sure, I get it. Most women don't cook. But does that mean that you're not supposed to get that? You're courting to get it. You're courting to get that, especially if you know yourself. Especially if you know yourself. You know that this is something, it just does something to you. Reminds you of your grandma, reminds you of your mother, whatever the case is. You like home cooked meals. Courting is learning how to get it. Nowadays, what we do is we learn how to compromise first. Compromising, like, it's really not a good thing to do in relationships. So it's a lot of game to learn, and people call it game. I'm restructuring the way we look at it, guys. It's courting. You got to learn how to court with these women, or else you're gonna lose, because the game is already set up against you. The same game that everybody wants all this, you know what I'm saying, all this lyrics to be on top of. It's rigged against you. So even if you got a nice car, you look real good, you this and you that, the game's rigged against you. And that's what happens when you really just don't have that much knowledge. The game's rigged against you. You're playing the game. You're leveling up to play the game, which means that you're just leveling it up to lose at some point. If you're not leveling it up and quarantining yourself to the point where you only strategically court because you know yourself, and therefore you know what type of partner is going to be needed, or you've had 35 girlfriends and you figured out the algorithm of what aligns with you best. Keisha used to come over all the time and clean up the apartment. Damn, I like her. Or Trisha, who used to come over and just smash, and you might like her. These things, you got to do the work on yourself. You got to know yourself. It's important. But other than that, you're just not going to have the patience. You're not going to have the patience to do something different. Courting is about knowing your value. Because you're so valuable, you don't go out there and stick your dick in randoms anymore. It takes it takes a lot to get out of that. And then even when you decide that you don't want to do that anymore, you got to get to know women. Like, how do you even know them? That's what a lot of men need to learn how to figure out. So, guys, I'm telling you, man, I got lots more heat coming for him. Be doing this StreamYard so that way I can do go live to multiple audiences at once. Shout outs to the Facebook, my original Facebook folks, man. I appreciate you guys for sure over these years supporting me. One of the best ways you can support your boy right now is definitely going up on Amazon and leaving a review of Heart on Break if you've read it before. We definitely appreciate that. Anything else, comments, likes, shares of its work, always appreciate it, guys. I don't have a link here on either YouTube. I'll probably put a link in there after the live is over for you guys to get access to the new workshop that's coming out. But definitely it is for serious guys, though. It really is. It's high level shit, quite frankly. If you really actually want to get married, if you really actually want to build a family, if you got a plan that that's longer lasting than you, meaning that, like, you're looking 30, 40, 50 and 100 years down the line, like, that all starts with you first and foremost, and then it happens through the women that are going to be loyal to you. Like, this is something I've been talking about for recently, you know what I'm saying? About the whole thing. Like, we value looks over loyalty, and that's where our big problem comes in, you know what I'm saying? And once we start learning how to view women non-sexually, the whole game changed. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Brown, certainly, man, it certainly does take a lot of energy, trying to reinvent myself and make sure that the content is effective. Like, I don't just want to be getting on here, whether it's 10 people watching or 10,000, like I want it to be effective. I want it to be something that you can utilize that can potentially help you get out of a rut if you're in it, because that's what started me in this game. I was in a rut when I wrote my book. Like it wasn't a financial rut, but it was a fucking emotional mess. I had children and all this energy of all these people. I'm playing a savior, but I don't even know I'm the savior. You know what I'm saying? I'm going through a lot of things, and when I stopped playing savior, man, these people turned on me like crazy. And at some point, especially as a black man, it's really hard to talk to people about what you're going through, because they stereotype you. Oh, okay, you deserve that, or this, that type of shit. They're not trying to hear you. They're just trying to tell you, ha ha ha, the way you get. And it's a big difference. It's a huge difference, because most people, for the most part, when it comes to men, they ain't trying to understand us. They're trying to tell us what to do. Especially when they see that you got some value. The hard part about it is that a lot of times when they see your value, you yourself haven't quite seen it the way they do. It's time for you to do that. And when you do that, you understand that your energy is precious, especially your sexual energy. You can't just get at the hoes who've been with 3 other dudes in 2 weeks before they met you. Like, you can't. You can't. So this is what this course is about. I'm saying? Like, y'all hit me up in the DMs or messages, comments, or whatever the case is if you're interested. Like I said, if you're watching on YouTube, I'll definitely provide a link to the workshop class. It's definitely it's going to be about 4 or 5 series of workshops, definitely based on you learning how to court for your needs. Court based on who you are. If you're this type of individual, no, you can't go about it the way other people did. You can't go about it the way your brother did. If you no matter what has happened to you, you've had some bad relationships, everybody tell you don't do it. If you know within yourself that you want to have a family, you want to do these things, you gotta go hard for that. But it's a way to do it. And that's the issue that many men have been having in these relationships, is that we enter in these relationships with a deeper desire inside, but on the outside, it's a lot of sex, a lot of superficiality, and highly based around your status in society, like how much money you got and these different type of things. Like, too much of it is based on that. And so even ourselves, we begin to value ourselves the way women see us. And that's why I talk about in the book, like the way you see yourself and the way women see you. You got to always be consistent with who you see yourself becoming and be truer to it. Because, sometimes we want pipe dream things for ourselves and learn 5 years later that, I should be a writer. Fuck all this photography, fuck all this other shit. Like, this is who I am. Sometimes it's like that. And sometimes not being aligned, it affects your ability to be in relationships. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, like I said, I teach audio on a later date. I'm definitely on my purpose. Appreciate that, my brother. I definitely feel on my purpose. You know what I'm saying? I definitely feel like even when you go through ups and downs, like that what you're doing is serving others, and of course, we need it. we just need it as men. We need it. Like, when it's time for rebuild and when the world changes over, like, y'all think it's gonna be groups and packs of women protecting anything? Y'all think it's women gonna be leading anything? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna be us. We got to learn how to stop viewing our brothers like our enemies these days. Stop being in so much competition. You know what I'm saying? And learn how to work with who you can work with. Because the truth is, you ain't gonna be vibing with every other dude like that. You know who you vibe with. Link up with them. Stay strong with them. You know what I'm saying? Be men with them. There's a lot of things, a lot of issues that we're having. We don't have enough men who we can be men with, who can hold us accountable. You know what I'm saying? Can do a lot of different things to help us in the process and understand our journey. Because a lot of us don't have multiple men who we can come to. We don't have the 5 different archetypes available to us. Sometimes you need the advice from a more kingly man. Sometimes you need the advice from a more emotional and in tune with his emotional side, man. Sometimes you need advice from somebody who's gonna say, fuck that shit. You need to learn how to choose your supporting cast, or your corner, so to speak. And that's always going to be an ongoing process for sure. But you do what you got to do anyways. It's all about getting better. And for the most part, for me, man, I'm trying to make sure you guys understand that, get better before you bring these women into the relationships. It's going to serve you much better. So anyways, guys, share this last before I go. If y'all got any questions, in the type box, just hit me up and let me know. Always heartonbreak.com can check me out. Follow me on Instagram as well. I am Nakata, and we'll be in touch. We're doing more of these as the Strategic Court for High Value Man course comes online with the workshop series. Look forward to seeing some of you guys there. Y'all take it easy. Appreciate you for joining me today.